Good evening. Welcome to the 2022 State of the Parish Address. My name is Beau Belanger, and I serve as the Chief Administrative Officer for Iberia Parish, reporting directly to President Larry Richard. Iberia Parish government is composed of 33 individual departments with over 180 employees and an annual budget of $65 million. President Richard's administration has worked diligently over the past 6 years to see that these 33 departments are run as an efficient business, with its outcome being a wise use of funds while ensuring a good quality of life for the residents of Iberia Parish. We're here tonight to summarize the parish's progress, and who could do a better job of telling us these accomplishments than our parish president, M. Larry Richard.
Okay, first I'd like to thank God for allowing all of us to be here, and thank you both for the introduction. I would like to thank my wife, Kim, and my children for allowing me to do what I do for Iberia Parish. I would like to introduce my executive staff, starting with my executive assistant, Cindy Provost. Administrative Assistant Edie Castleman. Security Manager Daryl Manning. Again, my CAO, Beau Belanger. Procurement Officer Michael Broussard. Finance Director Kim Segura. And also our Human Resource Director, Donna McDonald. Thank you so very much. And before I introduce the Parish Council, I would like to give a moment of silence to my longtime friend and Parish Councilman Marty Trahan, who passed away earlier this year. And we truly miss Marty. At this time, I'd like to introduce the parish councilmen that's here this evening, starting with our chairman, Warren Goshasan, Mr. Lloyd Brown, Eugene Olivier, Natalie Broussard. Thank you all so much for everything that y'all do working with this administration. As far as legal, we have our attorney here. I've seen Ian Alpha. Is he in here? Yes. Do we have any other elected officials here? Okay. What about any veterans? Do we have any veterans here this evening? Would you stand up, sir, and be recognized for your service? All three of you guys. All four of you guys. Great. Appreciate everything you have done and everything that you continue to do. And I'm standing also, I'm a veteran. Any commissioners and board members here? Commissioners and board members. Stand up, please, and be recognized. Thank you guys for everything you do. We really appreciate that, the guidance that you give all of the directors moving this parish forward. I want to thank everyone else that's here to come and hear the 2022 State of the Parish. I'm going to try to keep this presentation to about an hour. After this presentation, I'm going to be available for any questions to talk to you about anything that's going on in Iberia Parish now and future projects that we have. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mike Tarantino, President and CEO of IDF, and also tonight, moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Good evening. And it's certainly my honor to be, I'm Mike Tarantino, and it's certainly my honor to be tonight's moderator for, this is the 6th State of the Parish Address. So happy to be here. So much looking forward to what's going on in parish government, where we've been, where we are, where we're going to go. And I'm happy to be here with you tonight as we talk with Mr. Richard about those things. So let's just jump right in. Good evening.
Good evening, Mike. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with us to tell us about the wonderful things happening within parish government and around our community. You and I have talked quite a bit about how you treat Iberia Parish government like a business. And just like any business, Iberia Parish government has a lot of different departments and business units. Tell us a little bit about Iberia Parish government.
Well, Iberia Parish, like you heard earlier, we have over 23, we have 33 business units that we deal with. Starting with the finance department, the purchasing department, you have public works, mosquito control, GIS, the IT department, I'm not going to name all of them, Homeland Security 911 that we work with, Acadiana Regional Airport, Parks and Recreation, and of course, Section 8 HUD. Just to mention some of them. This parish, this business that we manage, we have a lot that we need to do to keep this thing going. We have a lot of people that count on us to do it right.
You know, taxpayers and citizens around the community really depend on parish government for a lot of different services. And I would say that one of the biggest departments that has, you know, the front face of parish government, the one who interacts with the public the most, has got to be Public Works. It's where the citizens and government really meet. Tell us a little bit about what's going on within the Public Works department.
Not a problem. Public Works have several different things that they do that. Starting with water, we have over 800 miles of roadside ditches and lateral ditches and main channels that we work with. We do things like build bulkheads and catch basins and install culverts. We handle boat landings. Like today, we had a boat landing that had silted up, so we had to go out there with the excavator and take care of it and get it right, just in case, like the sheriff department need to do whatever they need to do. We have a lot of activity that the sheriff department do from boat landings. So we have to make sure all of those types of things are squared away and ready to be used at any given time. We handle silt, removing of the silt. We handle beaver dams, and beaver dams is a big thing. Those little animals know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Because they can definitely create some problems.
And so what other things are Public Works responsible for?
When you talk about land, Iberia Parish have over 400 miles of roads, parish roads. We have 66 bridges in Iberia Parish. 55 of those bridges are what's called off-system bridges. They are managed by Iberia Parish, but they're inspected by Iberia Parish Public Works as well as the Department of Transportation. And the way it works is every bridge in Iberia Parish got to be inspected every year. So with the 55 bridges that we have, Public Works would do half of those bridges as far as inspecting them on a smaller scale like this year. And the next year, the Department of Transportation would come and do a full inspection. So we just swap. We do have this year Public Works and the Department of Transportation would do it the next year. Right. But they're also responsible for road repairs and signage and striping and, washouts that you might have, right-of-way clearing and cleaning and things of that nature, tree removals. We're responsible for landfill. We have a landfill, like if you're picking up trees or whatever, it goes into our landfill. So we have to have people that's certified to run that landfill. It's a major operation that you run from Public Works. We have illegal dumping. A lot of that take place, so we have to be able to have someone to be on point to handle those things appropriately, quickly. Also, litter abatement. Litter abatement is a big deal in the parish.
Really important.
We have a lot of people putting a lot of litter out there, so we spend a lot of time cleaning up. But the one thing that we have that's very, very tough to handle, and we do the best that we can, and I think we're doing a pretty good job, is nuisance abatement. We have, and that's where you have people that may have long grass and got junk cars and things of that nature, that we have to address those and try to keep our parish as clean as possible. Because you have someone that's have a nuisance problem next to you, next to your house, well then all at once you have rodents and stuff going on your property.
Tell us about how Public Works works with drainage.
Well, drainage is major to Iberia Parish. A day like today was a beautiful day. But if you have a south-southeast wind blowing at 12 miles an hour, something like that, you have people in this parish that have water in their yard.
Right.
And a lot of people don't get it, but if the wind is at minimum of 12 miles an hour from the south-southeast, like I'm saying, you have some people that can't get to their homes. So we have a lot of things we need to do. So road work, roadside drainage is a big deal in Iberia Parish. And since January of 2016, we have done over 435 miles.
So that's from New Iberia to Houston and back, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's a lot of, roadside clearing that we've been doing and cleaning that we've been doing. Another thing that we do as far as dealing with drainage is slash busting. A lot of people don't even understand what you mean when you say a slash buster. But some of the channels that we have in Iberia Parish haven't been cleaned in a while. We caught up, we're catching up, we're doing very, very well. And you use a slash buster to go to a channel that hasn't been cleaned, where vegetation start to grow, your trees start to grow. Some of these trees could be 20, 30, 40 feet high. So you got to remove all of that to get your excavator there so you can start to clean. We've done over 60 miles of that in Iberia Parish, and I'm very, very proud of that. That's a pretty tedious job. We have an extremely good operator that's doing that for us, and I'm proud of the work that he's doing along with everyone else at Public Works and every department that we have in Iberia Parish. Another thing we have, Mike, is the main channels and the lateral channels that we have to clean. We've done over 150 miles of cleaning main and lateral channels, and that's a lot of work. We have some pretty big channels in Iberia Parish. You know, you're talking about the Delaware Canal, those particular type of channels where you need to have a long-reach 60-foot boom to handle that. Some of those channels are so big we have to outsource. In fact, the Parish Council passed a resolution. In fact, we should have an engineering company come in to talk to them in the next few weeks about additional channels that we can't handle. The work through Public Works to actually get that work done.
That's great. So when we first started in that first slide, when we were talking about things that that Public Works does overall, one of the big things you mentioned was bridge replacement and repair. Tell us a little bit about some of the bridges that have been replaced and repaired over the last time frame.
Well, since we have been here, and I'm saying we, my administration and the Parish Council that was elected in 2016, we have repaired and replaced several bridges, many bridges. Some of those bridges have been repaired by Public Works.
Right.
Some of the bridges have been replaced by Public Works. Those that we can. Some of them we can't, so we have to outsource those bridges. We have done quite a few bridges. You look at Crochet Road Bridge, we took care of that bridge. Also Gondron Road Bridge, Bull Island Bridge, Norris Bridge, several bridges, Melanson Bridge, several bridges. Hill Road Bridge, that's a major deal for us because that particular bridge is one way in and one way out. So you have to pay attention to what's going on, make sure that you're taking care of what needs to be addressed and do it fairly across the board.
So important to commerce, our sugarcane farmers,
Exactly.
bringing people in and out of our parish, so important, and that's really good to see and to hear. So citizens expect a lot out of their government, and one of the things that they expect is good water service. And
Yes.
so in Iberia Parish, water service is provided by Iberia Parish Waterworks District Number 3. Tell us a little bit about what's going on over at Waterworks.
Well, Waterworks District Number 3 primarily service the Coastal area. They're responsible for the production and the distribution of potable water. We have to do all of this in compliance with the Department of Health. We have a very, very good thing going on there right now. We actually just took I'm going to get to a little bit more of that later on, but we actually just took our sewer guy, that's the manager or the director of sewer, and brought him to water, but I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. So we have a lot going on there, and we're dealing with trying to stay in compliance with the Department of Health.
Right, so all of these departments have projects going on that are continuing to improve our community and improve their services. What kind of projects are Waterworks doing right now?
Waterworks have installed some 43,000 feet of water lines over on some of the streets that we have in that particular area, in the Coastal area. Captain Cade Road, Shaston Road, Graceland, Seymour Migas Road, Highway 90 on both sides. And I'm saying both sides because this is very important. As you know, companies that we are talking to, you and I,
Right.
Trying to bring new businesses to Iberia Parish, they want infrastructure.
Very important.
They want infrastructure. They want the water, they want the gas, they want the sewer, they want the fiber, the whole 9 yards. They want better roads, they want the whole 9 yards. So what we're trying to do on Highway 90 is make sure that we can get as much water down Highway 90 as possible through Coastal Waterworks, and what we can't do with them, we want to do it through the companies that's providing water right now, like LACO and those types.
Right. So we've talked about bringing the water in. Now let's talk a little bit about how we take the water out. And so sewer services, wastewater services in Iberia Parish are handled by Sewer District Number 1. Tell us a little bit about what's happening at Iberia Parish Sewer District Number 1.
Very proud of what's happening with Sewer District. We have a lot that we're doing. Sewer District is responsible for some 80 miles of sewer lines that we have in the parish. We have like 3,700 residential and commercial customers that we currently serve. primary function is to treat wastewater and the collection in accordance with DEQ and EPA guidelines. It's a big deal. We have very good control. We have a very, very good control on what we're doing with sewer. We're improving Iberia Parish with sewer throughout Iberia Parish. I know we mentioned Highway 90, but we're going throughout Iberia Parish with better sewer lines.
Just like the Waterworks District and other departments, Sewer District Number 1 has some great projects going on right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, a couple of the projects, I will talk about a few of them. Sewer, right now, we're doing the installation or installing lift stations on the south side of Highway 90 at Riverside Industrial Park. And this is going to allow us to have more developers come here to do work on Highway 90. We're trying to get Highway 90 where we're going to have it ready, what's called shovel ready, for new companies to come over here. They're installing new force mains on Highway 86 in the sewer district near the Vita Shaw pumping station all the way to Tesh Lake Canal. So that's another big project that we're doing with the sewer department. We have the relocation of force mains and a lift station that we doing at the airport for UL. That's going to allow more expansion of capacity and hopefully more businesses that we can actually get there.
Right.
But one of the things, Mike, I'm very, very proud of is there was just awarded a federal water sector grant from the water sector program, which is a huge deal for us.
Right.
And by doing that, we're going to have a lot of areas that's going to be able to be addressed.
So when you talk about the water sector grant, I know those are special projects that get to be done within the sewer district. Tell us a little bit about some of the water sector grant programs, some of the projects you hope to accomplish with that.
Well, we just got a $5.7 million
Wow,
grant,
$5.7 million.
from that. And they're going to do extensive improvements at the number 3 plant, which is a big deal for us. That's $2.6 million. Again, we're making some major headway when it comes to sewer. We have 16 sites where we're putting generators. 5 locations going to be permanent, excuse me, portable generators. The other sites are going to be permanent sites. The other 11 sites going to be permanent sites. We're doing new lift station at Counterglow subdivision. We have improvements of lift stations that's taking place at Greenbrier subdivision. And also the new duplex lift station that we're doing at All Center is a big deal for us. Now that's just naming some of the projects.
Yeah, $5.7 million in current projects. We see dirt flying all over the parish with these wonderful projects. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you see when it comes to future sewage collection, particularly on Highway 90.
On Highway 90, of course, you are aware that the city is actually bringing Love's truck stop to Highway 90. They're going to run sewer there. One of the projects that we're going to do is once they run the sewer line, we're going to connect to where they're going to run that particular sewer line, and we're going to go down the service road, some 3,300 linear feet in front of Arsenal Ford. That's going to be big for Arsenal Ford, but it's going to even be bigger for Iberia Parish because we're going to have some area where additional companies can come. Again, we're trying to get these areas where it's going to be shovel-ready.
Shovel-ready sites is what it's all about.
Exactly. And another project that we're looking to do is some 45 linear feet of gravity collection on the south side of Highway 90 from the USA trucking business all the way down to Ross Road. Going to give major capacity for major growth in Iberia Parish. So I think we're totally heading in the right direction with the sewer department.
You know, a lot of focus on infrastructure, exactly where it needs to be. These are what new businesses, this is also what existing businesses want to see. They want to see investment in infrastructure of all types, really a lot of investments out there. A lot of these infrastructure investments will also stand to benefit what I consider to be one of Iberia Parish's greatest economic development assets, and that's the Acadiana Regional Airport. And the Iberia Parish Airport Authority, who also oversees the Lemaire Memorial Airport in Jeanerette as well. The Iberia Parish Airport Authority is a great group of guys and are really, looking at overseeing a really wonderful asset. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with Iberia Parish Airport Authority.
Real good leadership. At the airport, we have approximately 1,200 acres of property that's available right now for development. That's a big deal for us. A lot of people don't realize that at the airport, we do a lot of helicopter training with regular commercial companies, corporate companies, the Navy, NASA, Air Force. A lot of helicopter training is being done there. We are that airport is the second busiest airport in the state of Louisiana when it's come to operations. A lot of people don't realize that. And this is for the 13th year.
Incredible.
You know, so we have a lot of things taking place there. Very, very proud of that airport. Very, very proud of the leadership of what's going on over there. So Mo is doing a fantastic job, him and the directors there. So hopefully we can keep it going this way.
Absolutely. And so, wonderful asset, a lot of demand for the things that they have out there. Tell me a little bit about some of the projects that the airport authority is undertaking right now.
Our airport have some buildings that's kind of aged. So we have some things that we need to do. Hangar 88, for example, we're doing rehabilitation at Hangar 88. The same thing is taking place. Work's being done for the North General Aviation rehabilitation. We got that going on right now. We have the North General Aviation taxiway improvement that's going on. Shall I say taxi land? Some people call it taxi land. I'm an old ex-military guy. Right. And also the Lemaire Memorial Airport that you talked about earlier. We have work that's actually taking place over there as well to keep that airport in good position. The airport have a lot going on. So
yeah. So while we're maintaining and improving what we have, I know there's some projects for the future. Tell us a little bit about some of these exciting projects going on at the Acadiana Regional Airport.
One of the most recent things that took place is Freeman Jet Center. Freeman Jet Center just committed $2 million over 5 years, a minimum of $2 million over 5 years to do infrastructure work over there. That's a big, big deal. AVAX, on the other hand, has been...
Wasn't that a great announcement?
Oh, Lord. AVAX has been unbelievable at that airport for many, 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 many years. I mean, I've been going back with AVAX for over 20 years, and they have done a tremendous job at that airport, but they just expanded into passenger and freight conversion. It's a huge market. It's going to be a huge market for them and for Iberia Parish. Now, what you have to understand is that's going to bring additional buildings that's needed. That's going to bring additional employees here. It's a big deal. In fact, the parish council just passed a resolution to allow me to work on getting some bonding money. In fact, I signed that today. And we're looking to bond some $38 million for hangars at the airport. So we have a lot that we're planning on doing at the airport, working with AVAX and the airport in general. So we have a lot of work that we're going to be doing at that airport.
Yeah, great projects for a great asset for our parish. So when we've talked about developers, we've talked about investors, we've talked about growth in the parish and people building. When those folks come to our area, either new businesses or folks that want to expand, they typically interface with permits, planning, and zoning. And so very important because permits, planning, and zoning make sure that the things that are being built and invested in follow code and are being built properly and built in the right way, in good quality construction and good quality growth. Tell us a little bit about what's happening at permit, planning, and zoning.
We're very fortunate. We hired a director that came to Iberia Parish with every kind of certification you can look for, which is a big deal for us. And you're exactly right, Mike. Permit planning and zoning is responsible for codes. And we have someone that understands those codes big time. What we did this year that we wasn't doing in the past is we used to outsource all of our inspections from permits. We're currently doing that in-house now. So we got someone that knows what he's doing, and he's doing a fantastic job at it. And the thing about this here, we have 3 employees that's currently working there. We're looking to hire more. But the one thing that's good about this here is since we hired this guy to do the projects and do the inspections, we have inspected 367, or Charlotte did inspections and got 367 permits. That's $28 million worth of permit values. Wow. But the good thing about this here is that he already brought in $192,000 to that department that used to be outsourced. What was happening is the company that was outsourcing, they were keeping, for the most part, all of the fees. So we were paying our employees through the general fund. So now we're bringing money in to start paying our employees. Right. And that's a big deal. So we did this now because we know we have a lot of growth that's coming to Iberia Parish, and we want to be ready with our planning and zoning and permitting department to handle the growth and be ready for the inspections that we're going to have over there. So very great, very good operation again, that's happening there. I'm very proud of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to pivot just a little bit to a different department. And let me just say, for those that don't know, Iberia Parish loves its pets,
Absolutely.
right? It loves its
Absolutely.
animals, whether it's farm animals, working animals, dogs, cats, residential pets, those kind of things. We love our pets. We want to make sure that they're cared for. We want to make sure that we have a good, safe rabies program. All of those kinds of things are happen through the Iberia Parish Animal Control. Tell us a little bit about animal control.
Animal control, our department is just amazing. We have 4 full-time employees that work there. We have a couple of part-time employees, and we have really good volunteers that help us. Primarily, the responsibility, of course, is when you talk about the animal control facilities, trying to make sure that you're taking care of rabies and getting the vaccinations that you need. But we do much more than that at that animal control facility. We try to make sure that we can actually find, or when we receive the dogs and cats and whatever else.
Right.
Because we get more than dogs and cats, believe me. We try to make sure that we work with a rescue to try to get the animals rescued. We have an adoption program. But Mike, the big thing about animal control is that it takes a certain type of person to work there and have a certain type of passion for what it is that they do. Just last week, we had a nuisance, it was called animal cruelty. So we had to send our people out there to pick up dogs, cats, and chickens. We even had a pig, we had goats, and we have to find a place to put these animals. And what people don't realize is when we get in these types of calls, we can't get rid of those animals because it become an investigation that needs to take place. Right now, for cruelty cases at animal control, we have over 90% of the animals there is because of cruelty. And that kind of messes up a little bit with receiving and collecting additional dogs and cats because we don't have the capacity.
Right.
One of the things that we are trying to do is when it comes to rescue, we have good leadership, and it's working out very, very good there. But again, it's all about trying to get these animals adopted.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned a staff of 4. And tell me a little bit about intake, the kind of volume we're talking about with animal control.
Since November of last year, we have over 1,200 dogs and cats. That's all we're counting right now is dogs and cats that we have at animal control. 51% of those that we have is actually coming from the city of New Iberia. Of course, we have some 33% is coming from the parish. Then you have Generette, Laurelville, Delcom, where we're getting the other animals that's coming from, where they're coming from. I guess it was somewhere around 2017, maybe 18, we decided to help the city because the city at that particular time was going out for, if you may remember, attacks to try to start the police department, and there were some issues. So we decided to bring in and try to help to collect all of the animals in the city, and we did.
Good cooperative effort.
And we did. Freddie and I have a great relationship. As you know, we work very, very close together and try to do what we have to do for the people of Iberia Parish. And the city is a part of Iberia Parish. But we can't continue to do this. So we're eventually going to have to go back to where we were. We're certainly going to give the city plenty enough time to get their program together, back and running. But there's absolutely no way that we're going to be able to handle with 4 people all of the parish forever.
Right.
You know, so that's a big deal for us. But we, until then, we have to take care of these animals. It's not something that we take lightly. Well, again, we have a very good crew that works there, and we have a lot of volunteers, so everything is working out good as of now.
That's great. That's great. So, like I said, Iberia Parish loves its pets, loves its animals. I can tell you right now, we hate mosquitoes, right? South Louisiana,
Yes.
where we live, you know, it's mosquitoes are an issue, both a health issue and just a nuisance overall. We've got a great program that's handled by Iberia Parish Mosquito Abatement. Tell us a little bit about what's happening over with the mosquito abatement program.
You know, the mosquito abatement program, I get very little calls, negative calls about our mosquito abatement program. That particular program is funded by dedicated tax. And I'm going to mention that because we have that vote coming up for renewal on November the 8th. And of course, I can't tell someone how to vote, but I can tell you we have, if not the best mosquito abatement program in the state, we got to be the second.
Right.
So we really do a very, very, very good job with that as a parish-wide program. We take care, of course, it's all about public health and safety. We have a ground and aerial method that we use to treat and try to avoid these mosquitoes from getting so aggressive. We have a director that's doing an outstanding job there. I can't say enough about that. But what I can say is when this tax comes for that renewal on November the 8th, we really need to think about what we're doing because it's a very good program. And I love the fact that I can go out at my house and barbecue and do whatever it is I need to do outside and don't worry so much about mosquitoes just picking me up and taking me away.
They seem like they can sometimes, right?
Yes, because I've been places in the state of Louisiana where it's not so good.
Right.
And the way this tax is called, I'm going to say this here, is that it's money that actually comes in, and the mosquito abatement program manage and take care of whatever it is that they need to do, and have a very good board that works very close with the director and monitor those dollars. And all of the remaining dollars that they don't use for that particular year is going to go back to the municipalities, including Iberia Parish government, based on pro rata share. So we use those dollars to do drainage. And I'm going to tell you right now, those are substantial dollars that we use to do drainage in Iberia Parish. And honestly speaking, we really and truthfully couldn't do without it.
Right. Very important program, both from a public health perspective and just a quality of life perspective, so very important. So we've gotten a lot of great reports from the various departments and the projects that they're doing and the projects that they will be doing. No matter what department it is or what projects they're doing, it's all about the resources, right? It's all about bringing resources, using resources. It's about managing resources, it's about managing money, the taxpayer dollars, the dollars that come forward to get these projects done. Citizens expect their dollars to be handled wisely and accurately. In Iberia Parish, those finances are handled through the Iberia Parish Finance Department. Tell me a little bit about what's going on over in finance.
We have an outstanding finance department. The director is Kim Segura, and I'm going to tell you what she has done and continue to do. An outstanding job. She's responsible, and her staff is responsible for every function of every nickel or penny that's spent in Iberia Parish government parish-wide for every department.
Right.
This includes the collection of revenues, all of the payments that we have to do, all of our expenditures, and any related reconciliations. She's responsible, and her staff is responsible for the budgeting, for the audits, for any essential function that pertains to accounting and finance. We have what I consider to be, if not the best, again, I'm going back to where I was with mosquito control, one of the best when it comes to our financial staff. The whole crew they're very, very good. They're constantly working. We talk finance literally every day. Every day I'm at the office, we're talking about finances because you have so many different departments. Something is going on with a department or two or three or four every day where we're talking finances, and we have to be on top of it. In 2016, when myself and some of the council members that's here was elected, behind me there's a slide that's showing a red and a black. The red indicate the expenditures and the black indicate what we were receiving as far as revenue. Now you can clearly see that the expenditures was much more than what we was actually receiving. We got elected, I think we swore in on a Tuesday, we had a meeting on a Wednesday, and we got in and we voted to freeze the budget that night, the first meeting we had. And it took us about some 10 months, as you can clearly see on that slide, right before 2017, you can see where we stabilized. And what we did is we figured out how to take those expenditures and keep them lower than the amount of money that we actually receiving. It took some work, it still take a lot of work, but I can tell you right now, as far as this general fund, the first year, if I'm not mistaken, we worked really hard to try to figure out how not to be in the red at the end of the year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we had about a $15,000 net, if I'm not mistaken. So the council and the administration, we made a lot of tough decisions. Right. But those decisions that we made back then is definitely helping us right now.
Well, we're talking about good business management, and those that are in business development and in business management understand the importance of cash on hand. And so tell me a little bit about the progress with, good business practices with the parish government as it pertains to general fund cash on hand.
Okay. In 2016, we had 29 days of cash on hand. That's not going to make it when you're running a business this particular side. So our strategy was to try to figure out how to get more days of cash on hand. So in 2017, that went to 58 days. That's 102% or 102% in growth, which is a big deal. You doubled basically what you had. In 2018, we went to 78 days. That's 173% in growth. In 2019, we went to 90 days. That's 215% in growth.
Wow.
In 2020, we took that to 129 days. I'm very proud of this. That's 349% in growth. Last year, when our auditors left, we had 192 days cash on hand. That's 570% from when we started in 2016. Very, very proud of that. The council I can't explain how well the administration worked with the councilmen.
Right.
We have a very good working relationship.
It takes a team.
A very good working relationship. We do very well. The thing I like about the council is we don't always agree on everything. So we sit back and we talk and we make things happen because we are running a major business. It's government. But we try to make sure, and you can't do everything like you do at your business, no doubt about it. But we try to make sure that we use these finances to the best of our ability.
Following best practices, continuing to increase cash on hand, that's really great work. So we talked a bit about the general fund, and those are local dollars that, that the government can use, and how we're saving those things and making every dollar count. But we know that to get projects done, to get big projects done, it takes state and federal dollars as well, state and federal dollars to be part of the mix of really getting big projects done. Tell us a little bit about intergovernmental revenues.
We're very fortunate. Over the last several years, we received almost $50 million in state and federal funds. That number is a bit over $47 million. But we are very fortunate because of the way we actually use those dollars. We leverage those dollars, Mike, on how we do projects. Without those federal dollars and state dollars that we are talking about right here, the projects that you're seeing, like the roundabout that's taking place, the access road, we couldn't do it. We don't have those dollars with our taxes that or the revenue that we're receiving from Iberia Parish right now. So what we have done since 2016 is the dollars that we get from state and federal government, we try to leverage those dollars to get more dollars.
Right, absolutely. So we've had an opportunity to talk quite a bit about departments and the projects that the departments are doing, particularly finance and where we are and where we've come from and how far we've been able to progress, and all of those individual pieces. Now we're kind of at a piece that I really want to talk about, and that's the big projects that are going on in Iberia Parish right now. You touched on them just a few minutes ago with state and federal dollars. Very exciting, some very exciting projects that are going on that people need to know about. Tell us a little bit about some of the projects that are going on right now with Iberia Parish government.
Well, some of the projects that we're doing right now, we're basically taking some of the dollars that we're receiving from state and federal to actually use those state and federal dollars to get more dollars from the state and federal government. For example, our Go Mesa Fund, we have several projects that we're doing right now. The council have approved the administration to use Go Mesa Fund to do engineering and design work to try to get more projects from federal and state dollars. For example, currently we have like 7 projects that we're doing. We have a total of 15 that we're going to do, and these are called flood control structures. And the reason we're doing this is because we're trying to keep these properties that's particularly near to the Gulf of Mexico when you have the high tides that we talked about earlier, keep that water from coming in. So we're going to build flood control structures that's going to actually make exactly that happen. When the water is coming in, or normally would come in from the Gulf of Mexico, we have if you're familiar with a check valve, it works very similar to that. And as the water go out, it would let the water that's in these particular main coulees and channels that we have go out. So we're going to use our existing main channels as detention ponds. But the way it's going to work is we have the 7 projects that we're doing right now. We're going to spend some $3 million of Go Mesa fund again, which is not local funds. And we're going to use those funds to do engineering.
Yeah.
And then we are getting money. Right now we have around $20 million that we're getting from CPRA. So the Go Mesa funds are the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act fund. And this is something that we get every year. Roughly this year we should get a bit over $1 million, and we've been receiving that for like the last 2 years. So we're doing well. The first maybe 8 or 9 years we was getting 60,000, 100,000+, but now we're starting to get decent dollars. So we're taking those dollars and we're working with CPRA, Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority. And we're following the master plan that they created years and years and years ago to put in these flood structures. But by following the master plan that they created, we leverage the money that we are getting from Go Mesa with them, and they're giving us the additional dollars. So as of now, we're around, I guess, around $22, $24 million worth of projects when you include our match money and the match money that we're getting from them.
That's spectacular, and I was chuckling just now because you didn't mention any local dollars that were necessary in this
None.
thing. So
None.
that's really a really good thing. So these are Go Mesa dollars. These are what we like to call CIPRA dollars or CPRA dollars coming from grants. Many of us have heard about the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA for short. Tell us a little bit about how you've leveraged funds through ARPA.
Well, we receive $13.5 million of ARPA funds. So we're taking our time on how we're spending those dollars. So far, we have spent or committed $6.1 million, and we're going to get funds for roughly $32 million. We're using dollars like for the water line relocation on LA 88, the Coto area.
Which, by the way, is going to be used to facilitate a brand new neighborhood and subdivision out there. That's great.
So we use that $122,000 to apply, and we receive grants of $857,000. So that's $1 million project. Right. Off of $122,000. Earlier you heard me talking about the water sector. We took $1.3 million from the ARPA funds, and we ended up with a $5.7 million project. We applied for grants through the sewer department. We received it, and that's a big-time deal for us. Right. We took $310,000 that we invest from ARPA into broadband. That's $5.2 million that we're getting there. And broadband is critical in Iberia Parish. In fact, the companies that's coming to the access to the Progress Point on Access Road that you know about, it's all because we have all of the infrastructure that's needed. And the fiber conversation was critical, because if we didn't have fiber, it wasn't going to happen. Right. So this is a big deal. So that $310,000 investment is bringing us $5.2 million.
Again, zero local funds.
No local funds.
Right.
This is taking the money that we receive from the American Rescue Plan, which is coming from the federal government to the state government, and actually using those dollars to invest those dollars to try to get bigger grants, and that's what we're doing. Same thing with water, with Coastal Water Works. We have $1.6 million. We applied for a grant and look like we have that grant. That's a $7 million project. So we're looking very, very good with it. But another thing, Mike, that we're doing for years and years, and you know this, we've been working with this for many years, trying to come up with a place where we can actually use post-emergency, post-hurricane or whatever, an evacuation center per se. And we were able, since we had the ARPA funds, to work with our delegation to secure some dollars for this evacuation center. We're investing some $2.7 million, but this is going to be a $13 million project. And I'm saying 2.7, we probably won't spend 2.7 because we're going to build this facility on our property that the parish already on. So that's going to have a value, so that's going to be reduced from that 2.7. Whatever work we do with Public Works, that's going to be reduced from that 2.7. But we are using those dollars very wise, in my opinion. Again, this is no local funds. We don't have the local funds to do that type of work.
Right, absolutely. And so you're leveraging dollars all the way across the board.
All the way across the board. And remember, that's only $6.1 million out of $13.5. We still have $9.5 million remaining.
Incredible.
So that 32 million that you see, we have no idea what that's going to be when we finish it.
Absolutely. And so, you know, we've talked about GOMESA funds, we've talked about CPRA funds, ARPA funds. Tell us a little bit about some of the other capital improvements that have gone on around the parish that we can talk about tonight.
We have a lot of improvements that have been done over the last several years. Of course, the library board, with their director, they built a couple of libraries. We have courtroom improvements that we did. We have various bridges that we done. Public Works facility, we have a new Public Works facility. The facility that we had on Avery Island Road, of course, was in a flood zone. We was paying ridiculous dollars as far as insurance. We was able to buy that facility and put some dollars into it and improve that facility to what it is today. We also have some additional grant dollars that we're going to use to continue to enhance that, grant dollars, to enhance that Public Works facility. We got the capital outlay improvement that we're doing at the sewer plant number 3, Estes Road project, and of course the CDBG project that sewer department is doing right now. It's big capital improvement projects.
Yeah. So many of us that in government and in development know about state capital outlay dollars. Those capital outlay dollars are the dollars that come from Baton Rouge, the result of a lot of hard work from our really wonderful state legislative delegation, a hard-working state legislative delegation, working very close with local government to cover the needs of local citizens. Tell us a little bit about Iberia Parish's state capital outlay projects that have been funded in fiscal year 2022.
I can't say enough about our delegation, our state delegation. This year alone, with monies that's received in Iberia Parish and follow-up monies, we're going to receive over $250 million. Again, I've been doing this for a while as a parish councilman prior to being a parish president. I personally don't remember that ever happening. So we have a lot of state road improvements that's going to take place. The airport is getting dollars. The Port of Iberia is getting dollars. The hospital are getting dollars. We have a lot to be thankful for. And, you know, it's so much money coming into Iberia Parish. I feel it's necessary to name our state delegation, you know, starting off with Senator Mills. I mean, he's a phenomenal senator. Senator Ale, phenomenal senator. Representative Blake Migas, Representative Marcus Bryant, Representative Bo Boye, Representative Mike Huval. These guys are unbelievable to work with, and when you go to them and you're talking about the projects, of course, they like to tell me to prioritize what I'm doing,
Of course.
and give it to them, and I do my best at doing that, and of course, they guide me all through the whole process, because sometimes you go in thinking you can get 20 million, and you can only get 6 million.
Right.
So my priorities may change from this one to that one, but at the end of the day, as long as I know everything that we're trying to do, we're doing pretty good, and we're getting better and better and better as it goes. So that's a big deal. When you take a look at the capital outlay project that we're doing for the evacuation center, and we talked about it earlier, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for us in Iberia Parish. They also gave money for us to do some improvement at the jail. The jail, we need roof repairs. We need all kinds of repairs.
Right.
In fact, we got the next capital outlay request is going to be going out and have to be submitted by November the 1st. So I already turned all of those requests in. And I have a lot of projects that we're looking, and hopefully we get some funding for next year. The LaSalle Street and Hanger Road extension, I like to call that phase 2 of what we're doing at the airport. Currently, we're doing the access road and that particular project. That's a big deal for us. I know you only see $400,000 right there. What we had to do was try to get that project recognized, and we did. So this year, we're going back to try to get the real dollars to continue to expand the growth and possible growth for this airport. So hopefully this year, when our delegation leave, we'll have more than $400,000, because it's critical, Mike.
That would get us the most direct access into the airport for commerce and trucking and all of the things that we want to do out there along with the airport authority. That's
Yes,
right.
and you know what's so good? We have all of these businesses out there that's working with us. Bayreuth Transport, I don't want to start a name them.
Right.
That's working with us, and anything that we need, they're right there to help us. They know what our plans are, and they know we have Iberia Parish government or Iberia Parish at heart, and we're trying to do the right thing for our existing businesses as well as businesses that we're trying to bring here. The same
Absolutely.
thing happened to our residents, our rooftops. We want the best for the people that we currently have. We want a good quality of life. but we're also trying to bring more in. The more rooftops, the more property taxes, the more dollars we get, the more that we can actually do in Iberia Parish. When you look at the sewer improvement projects that we talked about and that we're getting from capital outlay, you know, we made a request for an elevator at the courthouse. Don't seem like a big deal, but we didn't have the money to fix that elevator. And after talking to our delegation, it became a priority. So we have that money now, and that elevator is going to be fixed hopefully within the next, I don't know, I'm going to say 6 months. Michael Broussard is somewhere here. I'm sure he's going to get upset with me for saying 6 months, but that's the way I talk. I want things done quick.
Right.
And so the staff that I work with know I have some very, very, very quick timelines, and sometimes we can't make them because it's not realistic. But at the same time, I won't say I want a project done in 2 years and it can get done in a year.
Right.
So the courthouse elevator is a big thing to
Right.
us.
So, Mr. President, you talked a bit about the LaSalle Street and Hanger Road extension and how that would finish off. As a matter of fact, you called it Airport Access Road Phase 2.
Exactly.
So that's a great segue into the next part of this project. And tell us a little bit about ARA Access Road Phase 1. Where do we stand on that? What can we look forward to there?
It's critical. It was critical that we would build this particular access road to be able to approach the airport and do the things that we need to do at that airport. I was a councilman when we first started talking about this many, many years ago. And I'm so glad, Mike, and you and I, one of the first things I did when I became parish president is I called you to my office and I said, we have to make this project work. And we did. It took a long time. It took years for it to get the actual funding, but we got the funding. This is, in my mind, one of the most essential things we need to develop that airport. As you know, Progress Point is built on that particular road. We already have a business ready to build there. And we're going to talk about that business in a little bit and what it's going to bring there.
Yes.
But that particular road is going to have everything that's needed for any business that want to come here, shovel-ready property. We actually building, of course, the roundabout is taking place right there right now. And with the roundabout being there, of course, is bringing a whole new thing to what's taking place. The way we built this roundabout, we left a spur to go out to what we call P5 because we want to expand and be able to bring additional businesses to that part or that portion of the airport. It's very, very important that everyone understand that the access road is going to have everything we need as far as infrastructure. It's going to have water, it's going to have sewer, it's going to have fiber, it's going to be a brand new road, and we're going to have a 12-inch gas line.
Truly shovel-ready.
You can't get any better than that. And once you get to 3212, and we cross 3212, currently I think we're using, or the gas companies are using 4-inch gas lines, if I'm not mistaken. The gas line that's going to be taken off from 3212 is all 6-inch gas line. So at one time when we would talk, we were like, if we can get a 6-inch gas line, we would be doing great. Well, we have a 12-inch gas line. That's actually coming to Progress Point into the access road, and we'll have capacity to run that 12-inch gas line anywhere we need to run it at that airport. I think that's huge. I think that's planning for the future. I'm so blessed again to have a parish council that works with me, and you know, I probably talk to our chairman a little bit too much. He probably get tired of hearing me because I talk to the man almost every day about what it is that I'm trying to do, and I know he's talking to the other parish councilmen, telling them what it is that we're doing. But it's important that we work as a team, that we all work as a team, the parish council, the administration, all of the different boards and commissions that we have to move this parish forward.
The first new road in Iberia Parish in many, many years.
Well, yeah, I could tell you how
Yeah.
long, but I don't think
Yeah.
it was more than 2 decades. How about if we
Absolutely,
say
but a
that?
wonderful road. We're looking at it now on the screen. Connection into Highway 90, just a great place for commerce to connect to the airport.
Exactly, and not only that, Mike, that roundabout that we were talking about, we have another roundabout that's actually going to come at 675. So the roundabout that's going to be taking place at 675 is going to complete everything here. And you know what? I think I'm going to talk about how all of this started. Do you remember when I got elected in January of 16, we went to Memphis, Tennessee.
To see
in
FedEx.
February to see FedEx.
That's right.
And it was myself and you and Jason DeVilliers.
Jason DeVilliers.
And the whole conversation was about bringing a business here that we knew we wasn't ready to get. But the idea was to go there and talk to them about what they need to be able to come to these different parishes and counties throughout the United States to get their work. And one thing they told us, they started talking about STEM time, and I was like, STEM time? I didn't have no clue what they were talking about, but STEM time to them is how long it to get from point A to point B. Because remember, every minute to them, if I'm not mistaken, was $50,000.
Absolutely. The real science of logistics and transportation.
It was $50,000. So we got a chance to talk to them about when they had came and tried to do some work in Iberia Parish, how long it took to come from the Lafayette Airport. And I think they had taken Highway 90 and also the 182. The 182, they didn't even tell us how long it took, but they told us Highway 90, we missed it by 6 minutes.
6 minutes, and that cost thousands and thousands of dollars down the chain.
So when we came back, I remember when we was coming back, I said, look, we're going to have to get with DOTD and tell them what we need. So we got with the Department of Transportation, and the two roundabouts that's taking place right now at 88 is all because of a conversation that we had with FedEx and went to the Department of Transportation and gave them a recap of the meeting. So the roundabouts at 88, the straightening of Highway 88, which is actually being done now that that contract was awarded by the Department of Transportation as well. And the 675 roundabout that we have is going to complete all of it. Because once our motorists are going to be coming off of Highway 90 and getting into that roundabout, they won't have to stop. And the big problem that we have for real is the safety issues that we have. And currently, when an 18-wheeler is exiting off 90 and they need to get to that frontage road, we're having a lot of accidents. When they're trying to cross that road, especially at night, and an 18-wheeler is traveling, when the cab crossed that trailer,
Right.
is still in the road. So we're having accidents that we're trying to avoid. But the making of the 675 roundabout, of course, was designed with transportation companies as well as the Department of Transportation and with Bayreuth Transportation in mind, because the lip on that particular roundabout is only going to be like a half inch. And most people, when they look at roundabouts, as you get closer and closer to the centers, get wider and just get thicker and thicker with the asphalt. That's not going to happen here. We're going to keep that like a half inch, so when Bayreuth is bringing those 100 and however long trailers, their load is not going to be shifting. So it's a very, very big deal for us in Iberia Parish, and the use that we're going to, the potential and further use that we're going to have at that airport.
Absolutely.
So it's big for us.
Great connections, bringing us through, the gateway to the airport, through Progress Point, really has gotten people's attention.
Exactly. And this here is going to go out for bid. It was supposed to go out for bid. The Department of Transportation is doing that project. It was supposed to go out for bid in December of this year. They pushed it back, and they saying they given us until December of next year before it go out for bid. But the expectations, hopefully, is going to be a little bit sooner than that, because our road, as far as the access road is complete, we should be doing a ribbon cutting hopefully next month.
Wow, what a great project, and it's moving forward. There have been a lot of people over the years who've been instrumental in that, and it's really been, you talk about a team effort, right?
Absolutely. When I think about you,
Yeah.
and the input that you have, and the Acadiana Planning Commission, and all of the different people that we dealt with in putting this together, the different businesses putting this together, the different businesses, it's a true team effort.
Appreciate
Thank God
that.
we're there.
You mentioned shovel-ready sites, you mentioned Progress Point, you mentioned the airport. These and the shovel-ready nature. You mentioned broadband, high speeds coming through this area, utilities that businesses can plug into. That's resulted in some really big projects, right? And so we're about to talk about two parts of one huge project that's really going to help diversify the economy in Iberia Parish. The first of that being the New Iberia Research Center in conjunction with UL. Tell us a little bit about Biosafety Level 3 and the new building they're going to build.
The Biosafety Level 3 addition is critical. A lot of people don't realize that the Pfizer drug that was actually, the vaccine, was actually discovered right here in Iberia Parish. A lot of people don't know that. And when the president used to be on television saying we could have gotten this thing 2 months earlier, 3 months earlier, that's because we were moving, materials was being moved from Iberia Parish to San Antonio's, Iberia Parish to the other different states, trying to fine-tune what was taking place to get this particular vaccine correct. It was not that much of a hard sell, to be honest with you, working with UL and our state delegation and our federal delegation, because we have additional dollars that's going to be coming, in particular for the project that we're going to talk about next. But the biosafety level 3 is very, very big to Iberia Parish. It's a $25 million capital outlay project that we got from our delegation. It's going to bring in some 25 to 30 new jobs, $40 million a year in annual revenue. It's big, Mike. Our economic impact is going to be somewhere around, economic impact for the area is going to be around 132 new jobs, $54 million in economic output, some $47 million in industrial growth, and $2.2 million a year in annual taxes. And that's big for us, because every dollar we get means we can start investing those dollars, local dollars, to do more for Iberia Parish. So we're really, really positioning ourselves in Iberia Parish to have a very, very productive next 3, 4, 5, 10 years in Iberia Parish.
Very exciting. This project is going to go a long way toward diversifying our economy. The UL Lafayette New Iberia Research Center is well known worldwide, and this is only going to enhance it with the biosafety level 3. That's only the beginning, though. So let's talk about the second half of this. As a result of that biosafety level 3 lab building being built, we're also going to embark on the Iberia Bioinnovation Accelerator at Progress Point. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's another $25 million from capital outlay. Again, our state delegation has been phenomenal in what they were able to do in Iberia Parish. I'm very, 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 very pleased with what we're doing right here. This is a big deal for Iberia Parish. This is what's called a GMP facility, good manufacturing practices. That's a big deal when you're talking about the medical industry. This particular $25 million investment is going to bring another $50 to $75 million annual revenue into Iberia Parish. $50 to $75 million.
Incredible.
Okay. The economic impact with this one here is going to bring some 414 new jobs, $8.3 million in annual tax revenue. That's huge. Now, so when you look at that, Mike, and you think about when you combine these two, you talk about $50 million that we're getting from capital outlay, but what we need to understand is that's going to bring 546 new jobs, $144 million in total output, $119 million in industry growth, and also $10.6 million between the two in taxes in Iberia Parish. Average salary for this facility, $130,000 per year.
Spectacular. And you mentioned diversification before.
Exactly. And what's going on, Iberia Parish is an oil and gas parish. Oil and gas and agriculture. That's what we are. We will always be that. But now all at once we're going to diversify. We're going to be getting into some medical manufacturing in Iberia Parish. It's going to do nothing, in my opinion, but bring new businesses here. And you know that because right now you and I are talking with a particular company. We can't really get into details because it's non-disclosure.
Right.
And if we can pull that one off, that would be very, very, very big. But just, again, when we're talking about the access road, Progress Point, shovel-ready on both sides of the access road, we're getting ready to see a lot of things happen in this parish at that airport, from Highway 90 throughout that airport.
Absolutely.
Now, before I move on too far, I want to say to you that we're doing the same thing throughout Iberia Parish. So we still have businesses. In fact, I met with a business on, I don't know, it might have been Monday of this week or Tuesday of this week about doing some particular work in the General Red area off of Highway 90. So we have a lot of businesses that we're talking to that's coming into Iberia Parish, but I can tell you, since this has gotten out about this access road, and you know, because we're in all of the same meetings, It's been phenomenal. The conversations that we're having right now with businesses calling Iberia Parish.
People are paying
Calling
attention
Iberia Parish.
to Iberia Parish right now, that's for sure.
And this is the very first time this happened in my 6, almost 7 years of being parish president.
So, you know, we've had an opportunity to talk about departments, we've had an opportunity to talk about projects, spectacular projects, things that are going on right now, things that we can look forward to in the future. This really only represents a portion. We only talked about a portion of it tonight, but just talking about a portion of it, the grand total of projects at this point is over $174 million worth of projects that come from parish, state, and federal funds.
Mike, again, you emphasize, this is just a portion. We don't have time because I'm pretty sure the people that over here, if I started talking about the other projects, they'd be getting up and leaving. $174 million in projects. I don't know. I don't think I've ever experienced that in Iberia Parish, but at the end of the day, we're just talking about a portion of these projects. And for me, when you think about it, Mike, and you think about this is taking place in the time of COVID, where we, you and I and others, had to be having meetings via Zoom, still putting these deals together. This is unprecedented. I think we are in a position right now, again, to where I don't think Iberia Parish have been in a while. I really don't think, I'm very proud of where we are.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm going to say, is I'm very, very proud of where we are.
Absolutely.
And before I finish that, our staff, all of the staff in every department in Iberia Parish have worked. They have worked. And I'm going to be honest with you. Every director that we have, every employee that we have, can't say enough about them. Every last one of them. It's been a phenomenal experience for me to work with all of these employees. And I don't know, sometimes I probably get aggravating because I'm one that I have a military background and a corporate background, so I think a little bit different than some people. But I can tell you that the employees that we have in Iberia Parish government, I wouldn't trade them.
So we've had an opportunity to talk about departments, about good financial management, about huge projects coming, what we've done, what Iberia Parish government has done, what we're doing moving forward, spectacular funds raised and leveraged funds and all of the good things coming. But before we close, tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you see in this parish. What are we working on? What are some of the challenges we need to work on together?
We have challenges. I would like to start by saying our solid waste fund is a major challenge for us. The parish council going to have to make some decisions. I've been talking to the parish council, to the chairman, and to the rest, and to many of the other parish councilmen. I think by the first quarter of next year, no later than the second quarter of next year, I think you'll see some major changes taking place with the solid waste fund health unit. The health unit, we have some concerns. Again, I've been talking to the parish councilman about that. I think the parish council is ready to make those changes that we need to make to move forward in Iberia Parish in those areas. Roads are critical. We talk about how ready we are with the access road and Progress Point and all that stuff that's going on around the airport, but we can be like that throughout Iberia Parish if we get all of our infrastructure
And invest in ourselves.
Exactly, invest in ourselves. As far as fiber, we're going to have that taken care of. The goal to have fiber in Iberia Parish is 2024-25. We should be done with fiber, installing fiber to the home, fiber to the businesses in Iberia Parish. That's huge.
Right.
So in fact, I was outside probably 15 minutes before this started talking to the director of fiber for the state of Louisiana, and talking to him about some things that I had a conversation. Listen, I don't want to keep saying the parish council chairman, but that's how I operate. And whoever is the chairman in Iberia Parish, as far as the council, I communicate with them a lot. And we're trying to do some things right now in fiber, and I just wanted to get the assurance from the director of Louisiana Broadband that we were moving in the right direction, and we are.
Well, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to update us all on what's going on in the parish and where we've been, where we are now, where we're going. I've certainly enjoyed being with you and having this conversation. And I want to thank each of you in our audience and those on our filming today for joining us and taking an interest in your community and being a part of it. It really does take a team.
It does.
And that includes the community and knowing what's going on and how we can all work together to make it happen. It's certainly been my pleasure to be here today. Is there anything that you'd like to close with, Mr. Reshore?
Absolutely. Mike, I can talk for a while, but for some reason I think I need some water, so I better stop.
Right. Well, thank you so much, and it's been a real pleasure, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Mike.